The title of my talk is, as you see, Adult Migrants, Learning Catalan in Informal Settings, in which I will try to give a glimpse of the research that my colleagues and I at the Universitat Oberta de Catalunya, the Open University of Catalonia, have done for many years now. If we skip to, oh, it's me that I need to do that. Here you are. Table of content. I have organized the presentation starting with a brief, I hope, introduction to demographic, sociolinguistic, and policy context regarding immigration and languages in Catalonia, following by a brief explanation on the methodological approach to our research projects, which is mainly ethnographic, and I will tell more about that. I will focus the majority of the presentations presenting on this governmental program we researched for 4 years called Voluntariat per la Llengua, Volunteering for the Language, and some of the key results in this research, and I will end with some conclusions and some readings if you want to get into the subject more deeply. Going to the evolution of the foreign population in Catalonia. Last November 2023, Catalonia reached a total population of 8 million inhabitants. This increase was not caused by the rise of the birth rate, which continues to be one of the lowest in Europe. The conjunctural fertility rate stands at 1.17 children, so 1.11 children per woman. It's very low. But to the arrival of people from outside Catalonia, especially from Morocco, the rest of Northern Africa, South America, and increasingly from Asia. So, of the total population of 8 million, more than 1,200,000 people were born outside Catalonia. This population of foreign origin currently accounts for the 16.3% of the population. However, this is not the whole picture. Migration is not something strange in our times. It happens everywhere around the world. In fact, the philosophy of movement, Thomas Nail, in his book called The Figure of the Migrant, states that the 21st century is and will be the century of migration. What is peculiar or important in the case of Catalonia is that between 2002 and 2022, 2.7 million people have arrived to live in Catalonia, but at the same time, 1.5 million have left, right? So this would account for 34% of the total population, not the 16 figure that I gave you before, which is the net amount. If we look at other countries in the world, we would be on the top foreign population receiving countries such as Luxembourg, Australia, Switzerland, Canada, etc. So Catalonia, more than a land of welcome, it is a land of passage. In our ethnographic fieldwork, we've come across many stories told by newcomers, teachers, social workers. Thousands of families have moved from different places of the world to Catalonia, and then from Catalonia to the rest of Europe. Once they obtain Spanish nationality, which guarantees them the right to work. All these families who have been through routing processes, language classes, reception classrooms, are now living in France, Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, etc. So this has a great impact on public policy, from schooling to health and, of course, to language policy. Therefore, migration is key to understand the sociolinguistic dynamics of Catalonia. If we're just going briefly to the usual language according to the place of birth, this survey is from 2018. In November, so in 2 months, we'll have the survey of 2023, which is currently being analyzed. And it seems that these figures will drop even further. So if we'll take a look at the circle here, which is this second column from the right, we see that the use of Catalan by foreign immigrants is considerably lower than the other groups. We can see that only 4.6% have Catalan as their usual language, plus 2.9% stating that they have both Spanish and Catalan. So the great majority of migrants, 59.1%, choose Spanish as their usual language. This can be because learning 2 languages, Catalan and Spanish, requires a great investment in both time and effort, and either cannot afford either. So to apply for Spanish citizenship, for instance, they must pass an exam, a Spanish exam at A2 level of the European Framework for Languages. And that is significant incentive, obviously, to learn Spanish first and foremost. But, of course, we have this 4.6% of the population and 2 point more that state that they've learned Catalan. This is what is considered new speakers. The new speakers are those who didn't speak Catalan in the family when they were children, and they have adopted the language during their different stages or moments in life, in their life trajectory. So, in general terms, almost 3 million people of this, or the 5 million people who declare to be able to speak Catalan today, of a total population of 8 million, didn't have Catalan. So 3 million people have learned Catalan during the lifespan. And between 2003 and 2018, Catalan has incorporated more than 800,000 new speakers of Catalan. So we can see that despite the increase of immigration and the conditions I told you before of these great demographic movements, Catalan has a facility, kind of facility to attracting new speakers. However, this capacity is not enough to make Catalan the hegemonic language in Catalan society, and is not yet the language chosen by the majority of migrants. And why is that? We know that there are many barriers for them. There are many barriers that prevent new speakers from using Catalan regularly. New speakers in Catalonia and elsewhere are confronted with prejudices and complex barriers to become legitimate speakers of a new language. And if this language is a minoritized one, it's even more difficult. Apart from the difficulty of accessing Catalan language courses, once they acquire the basics of the language, many migrants still encounter difficulties or barriers accessing the language of everyday activities, regarding all their life, what they do in life. So even if we have a great increase of Catalan language courses, for formal learning, many do not reach these courses, especially the more vulnerable populations tend to be women which are not alphabetized, or so that they live in areas where it's difficult to reach these language courses or language centers. Right, there is an added, many new speakers in Catalonia, even if they can use the language, they cannot find spaces or people to speak with. This is networks, communities, right? There is also an added obstacle, is that Catalan speakers tend to code switch to Spanish to address or to reply to newcomers if the person looks or sounds foreign. So skin color, appearance, accent, etc. This is a subaltern behavior linked to many, many decades of basically Catalan being banned, and we still carry that stigma with us. And this is a major problem of the conception of who is a Catalan language legitimate speaker today, right? Who can speak the language? Who is allowed to speak the language with whom? Just briefly as well, immigration policy. Basically, we don't have powers, complete powers regarding immigration policy. It's subject to negotiations with the central Spanish state. And sometimes they're bitter, and they end at the Spanish Constitutional Court. So basically, we haven't got exclusive competencies at all. The Spanish state has exclusive competencies regarding access and naturalization. This is giving them citizenship, to foreign population. So we share this competency, and we have these laws, the Spanish Organic Law for 2000, and the Catalan Reception Law, in which obviously there is space to talk about language, and obviously to become a citizen, you have to have an A2, a Spanish language certificate, and a test of citizenship, which is done through the medium of Spanish. And then in the Catalan Reception Law, we can give extra points to migrants if they attend this 90-hour course of Catalan language, 41 hours A1, 41 hours A2, and a test or a course on labor market and about Catalan society. But obviously, the final word is by the Spanish state. We don't have the power to grant nationality. Right, researching new speakers. I just want to make a brief point that we have been researching new speakers for some time, and we approach a language from an anthropological standpoint. So we have always used qualitative methods, such as in-depth interviews and life stories, focus groups, observation and participant observation, and in our latest project, we've been dealing or trying to apply participatory action research combined with all these ethnographic techniques. And this has been quite interesting. But I won't talk about the Equilink project. I'll be focused on the Neofon 2 project, right? Basically, generally governments analyze results and present data on the language planning and language policies using quantitative methods. This is large surveys and statistics. This is fine, of course, to understand what's going on in terms of counting speakers, etc. But we also have to look at the large research data on qualitative methods, right? We obviously, when we do use qualitative methods, we work in a framework which is quantitative, but then we use this framework to ask research questions. Because the quantitative data will give you the what's going on, but with the qualitative data will tell you the why is going on, why this is happening, and with what consequences for the speakers and the people, right? So we advocate for this combination of the two techniques. So in this presentation, I will give a summary of the ethnographic research work on this Neofon that we did in this Catalan government scheme called Voluntariat per la Llengua. And in this research, what we did, it was a participant observation. So a team of 4 researchers, 3 senior researchers and 1 research assistant, became volunteers in this program. So we met with learners of Catalan language for 3 years. And the learners were 8 people from Morocco, Senegal, Nigeria, Thailand, Honduras, and Galicia, right? So moving on into the program, the VPL. So what is this program? VPL is a governmental plan managed by the Consortium for Language Normalization, which is the agency who's at the local level planning and giving language courses and promoting the language together with city councils and regional councils or regional offices. And it was established in 2002, so it's a long plan. It's been running and improving for more than 20 years, and so we have a lot of data. And this plan has been taken elsewhere. We have an example in Wales with the program which is called Xarrats, which means speak, and then we have it in other places in Spain, in Catalonia, in the French Catalonia, in Andorra, Valencia, Balearic Islands, Aran Valley, and as well to the Basque Country, Galicia, Flanders, Bolzano, South Tyrol, etc. So it's a scheme that's been given. You know, many people have visited the consortium interested in this program, so it's been kind of taken and adapted to different places. The scheme began by the realization by Catalan teachers of the consortium that while language courses taught formal Catalan to learners, many were not able to use it outside the classrooms at all. As I said, they couldn't find people or places to practice. So the teachers thought that organizing these couples get together and they put together speakers, normal, I would say native speakers, but not only native speakers, people who master the language at a level, and to accompany for 10 sessions to the learners. And they could do all kinds of things. Basically, not just go for a coffee, but do activities as well. No? In Catalonia, we have basically 22 language officers in charge of organizing these get-togethers, right? So they look at the profile, women, men, age, interest, especially the time they have in the day to meet up. That's very important, because this work is totally voluntary. I mean, nobody's paid for that. It's engaged by the community, and the people reach this program freely, and they are not paid. It's given time, right? We have 1 minute. Okay. Basically, you can have more information. I'll tell you one of the readings that you can go. Just to go fast, I will try to summarize what is the results. Basically, we've been working on access. We've begun on the possibility to become a new speaker by what we call a muda, so a change or an adding of this language to the language repertoire of speakers, and the example of basically safe spaces. As I haven't got a lot of time, I will skip some of these examples, and I just choose one of these examples, which it's quite striking, because I was the one who was accompanying Jamila. Jamila is a mother of 2 living in Girona. She's a housewife, and she was taking Catalan language courses. And Jamila, who tries to find a way to change what's going on. Basically, you know, she says, she was telling me in one of the sessions that we had in Girona, the town where we met in northern Catalonia. She said, you know, this week I've been practicing Catalan a lot with the teachers, especially when she goes to school and talks to the teachers, to their daughters, etc. I asked Marta, the teacher, why she has this label for me, why she speaks Spanish to me. She said nobody has ever spoken of her of this. The meeting has been more useful for me than for my daughters. Obviously, the reason to go to the teacher was to talk about the progress of the daughters. Marta said that, okay, that now from onwards, I'll speak in Catalan. And now I have the strength to overcome this barrier. The teacher told Thaisa, the daughter, that her mother was very intelligent and that she spoke Catalan very well. Marta was shocked. She said to me, tell your partner that she's fantastic. If you build these barriers, we cannot overcome them, I told her. Marta did not know about Volunteers for the Language. I described her that it was. It exists because you don't give us the language. I feel different, a woman that has rights when she speaks Catalan. I have changed, you know. So we have a lot of more examples of what's going on. We have striking examples of people who've been living in balconies for a year or 2, obviously, and then reaching, basically being underground and then connecting to volunteers and change their life completely, right? Anyway, basically, I'll just go to the conclusions. And I said that basically newcomers, new speakers are vital for the sustainability of the Catalan language, because the linguistic transmission of native is not enough. New speakers, with their willingness to learn and to use the language in new spaces and for new functions, are questioning who is effectively the legitimate speaker of Catalan. That is, as I said, to whom this language belongs. We think that it belongs to everyone who wants to speak it. The legal and policy framework regarding language and immigration is weak. So therefore, we need to find other strategies to imply and to welcome migrants and give them access to spaces where this language is spoken. And not only formal learning need to be considered, but as I said, these informal spaces, right? There must be contact between people. Segregation is a barrier, so there's a lot of segregation in our societies. So we have to work in many, many directions. Segregation is one of these directions. So if Catalan society is not providing naturally enough spaces of interaction with migrants and newcomers, these spaces will need to be created artificially and massively. So this is what we are trying to do in the other project we've been doing for some time now. So these are some readings, and one of the readings you can find is a special issue. No, it's a first shift for my supervisor, Colin Williams, that supervised my thesis. And I have a chapter talking just about this issue there, so you can find more data in this chapter. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll be happy to hear your questions.